thing is that this interview that I remember hearing from with Stephen Francis, he made it clear that he doesn't, he has a program that he's working towards, and he's
Yes.
always working towards the championship. So
Yes,
that
yes.
so the fact that you have a race coming up, he does not adjust his program because you have a race coming up,
Okay, all right, fair enough.
right? He has made that statement, and I took that to mean that, okay, that would mean therefore that that you are not we shouldn't really pay too much attention to those results.
Yes.
But then the results were repeated, right? The results were repeated in terms of the World Championships when it was supposed to matter.
Yes,
So
yes, yes,
I you know, coaches will say things, but
yes.
I'm just pointing that out. If
Yeah.
if she had turned the tables at the championships,
Yes,
then the
yes,
argument would be valid. But I'm saying maybe Sharika needed some more sprint speed
yes,
work in order to overcome that 100 meter, in order to perform better in the 100. But her endurance was clearly
yes.
there, and so on. So, we won't really get
Oh,
a perfect
yeah,
answer
yeah,
for that.
yeah. I want that. The times were good. I mean,
Yeah.
Shakari, I keep on saying it. Shakari is quick, and she did
Yeah,
a
she has
noble
good
job.
tapping as well.
Yes, man.
But
Yeah, man.
you know, I remember one thing that I remember about Elaine is that her tapping when
Yes,
she's in fine form
yes.
is phenomenal.
Yeah, man.
So it would be
Oh,
interesting
oh,
to
oh.
see what
When she is
happens when she's back
at the Olympics, at the Olympics.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to touch on some of the other performers that they unless somebody wants to come in at this stage. I want to just touch on some of the other persons. Um, 1 second. Looking back at my. All right. We had 5 silvers, right? We did touch on the gold. Let's touch on the silvers. The 5 silvers were Hansa Parchment in the 110-meter hurdles. And we had Wayne Pinnock in the long jump. Then we had Sharika Jackson in the 100 meters. And then the two relays that the women ran, 4x1 and the 4x4. Let's talk a little about Hansi Patrick. One of my biggest disappointments was to see Rashid Broadbell fall and not make it into the next
Yeah,
round. It
yeah,
was a
man.
big disappointment for
Big,
me.
big, big, big. Yeah.
And when you looked at Hansi Parchment at the time of the trials,
Yes,
he didn't look like he had reached his optimum. It
correct.
looked like he was getting there.
Yeah,
But I found it very instructive in that meet after, in that Diamond League meet
yes,
after the World Championships,
yes.
when he just ran past Holloway,
Holloway.
in the last part. And it's not the first time he has done that.
Right.
He has done it like this, yeah, before.
No man.
And I find it really, really interesting because now people say if Parchment could only get a good start or get improved start. But I want us to remember something. Parchment is 6'5", right? Now that's the same height as Usain Bolt. Usain Bolt eventually got, had a reasonable start, not a slouchy start. But there's a difference between Usain working on his start and
Yes.
Parchment working on his start.
Mm-hmm.
Usain didn't have to go over a barrier.
Precisely.
So you can work on what Parchment has to be careful of is you can't you have to make sure that you are in a position that you can clear the first barrier.
Right.
And you can
This
get
is
too
rhythm.
close. You can
It's all about
you can get too close to the
rhythm.
barrier
Yes.
depending on how if you mess with your start.
Exactly.
And that is what has happened to some hurdlers. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of hurdlers, it's the first barrier that seems to matter the most. And it seemed to have, I don't know if it was the first one or the second one,
Mhm.
that took down Broadbell, but it was pretty early in the race. And
Um,
I'm just saying, I don't think his start is gonna get much better, but
sure.
his rhythm, when he gets that rhythm going, and then off the hurdles, after he clears his 10 barriers,
Yes,
that final 10 meters
exactly.
is amazing. I would
That-
love to see Parchment run a flat 100. I don't know if he has a PB in the 100, but I'm just
yes.
curious to know what his 100 speed, would have been like. I just it would just interesting for me to know that. And then let's talk a little bit about Wayne Pinnock. Um, okay, let me take Robert, President Robert. You can come in, Robert. I see your hand up.
Here,
Mhm,
a pleasant good night.
mhm.
I was kind
Yes.
of out, but I was able to hear some things. I'm at home. Um, you know, Streamore, of how I feel about when it comes down to world championships. So one of my very good ones that you and I did talk about and we're kind of right was Anthony Watson as a 400 meter. I will start off that way. Our first world championships, Bertland Cameron, 1983, 400 meter. 2023, 400 meter. That has been a bread and butter in Olympics for us. So I was extremely happy when I saw that. I was really, really extremely happy. Now, what you and I do talk about sometimes ourselves, field events and sometimes male events. 1, 2, 4, 8 sprints. 1, 2, 4, 8 for me on the women's side always is good. I think we have excellent, I will not think, we have an excellent chance, but the transition from amateur to pro is where sometimes we need to wait on the men. So the 1, 2, 4, 8, I think there's something that we can work on, really work on. And because some of these youths on college circuit are excellent when they double up with 2 and 4, but it's a different system. Now I heard you remember Parchment. Parchment won the Olympics. And even before at the Olympics, when he won the Olympics, we have had over a period some hurdlers. We had Morris Wignall who was, always there. But I think if I'm right, Colin Jackson and you had a Cuban. I remember who when they went to Olympics yeah, it was Olympics they're excellent. Sometimes it might be the technique or sometimes these hurdlers get injured. Something very important I heard you mention, he's tall and he seems to have great speed after he hurdles. So once he gets it right, it's a gold medal right there. Sometimes is when he is always, as people say, even when you heard the commentator, start, yeah, just start. So not too worried about really that. I think that because as you said, when he left and he ran on the Diamond League circuit. Many times when he run on Diamond League circuit, him win. Not all the while him win, but he has done that many times. Run on Diamond League circuit and beat all the way. And that's just Parchment. But Parchment is injury free because I think he had a period where he was just injuries. And I think it's how you manage the athletes. Now I'll come off, but the one that I always ask about field events. You have the giants, as I say, you and I discussed this, with the hammers, the shot put, discus. Jamaica has been breaking the mold in the field events where we're getting um discus and shot put. What about those, the hammer throw? Is it that we don't have the money to deal with those techniques? Because we do have in Jamaica field events, meets where you get the best youths out of champs and you see them doing well. But what really is it on that side? Because I remember James Beckford, he represented us well. And so we have a bunch of youths with Wayne Pinnock, Tajir, Gale, even though Jordan Hibbert, I felt that if he didn't have the injury, that would have go good. So How can we get over that hump in the field events? Track
Okay.
will
Okay.
come good. And just in ending, there's a table, Stewie. From 83 to the last events before 2023, Jamaica is fifth on that all-time table. And there's also another medal table for champs, for world championships, that Jamaica is fourth. There's only certain countries that are first world countries ahead of us. So we are a powerhouse.
Okay, that's what I was coming.
Yeah.
Two
Yeah,
things I want to talk. One of the things about Parchment too, I've heard him say this, is that his natural stride length, he can't even use his natural stride length between the hurdles. He would run into the hurdle. So that's another, I mean, you might think that somebody who is tall, it gives you an advantage in clearing the hurdle. But it also means that your stride length is now critical, because it's not like when Usain is running, he can maximize his stride length because he doesn't have to time it to go over any hurdle. But with a hurdler now, you can't maximize your stride length if you are tall, because then you're not going to be able to clear the hurdle. You would run into the hurdle. So that's one of the things that he has. And then you mentioned something else about the jump? Something else that you said that I wanted to.
Jumps.
Oh no, that wasn't the jump. It was the hammer. One problem with hammer.
The throws.
One problem with hammer is that the equipment that you need, you have to have a cage. I mean, we have the proper facilities for discus and so on, but the thing about a hammer, if you don't have a proper cage, that hammer can go in any of 360 degrees. So it is the least, we don't have, certainly at the school level, most schools don't have that kind of facility. And that is one of the reasons why I think, hammer is going to take a little bit longer. It's not like javelin. I mean, and I've even heard of, remember when a guy got speared by a javelin? I don't remember the circumstances, but the accidents like that do happen. But at least if you're doing javelin, you're basically throwing in a particular direction. You can kind of monitor that. You're doing shot put, okay, you're not gonna show it that far, so you can control that. And discus, we probably have enough of but what they have for the hammer is even more substantial than what you have for a discus. I don't think they're the same. So I don't think we have gotten there yet because of the equipment that would have to be available at most of the schools for it to become a thing that a lot of people gravitate to, right? When you're talking about the jumps, let me just say this. I really feel proud of the second, third, and fourth. It kind of reminds me of 1, 2, 3. It's not exactly 1, 2, 3, but 2, 3, 4, still sounds pretty good. And in fact, you might remember that Tajay Gale and McLeod, they had the same best jump.
Right.
They had the same best jump, but Tajay got the bronze because of his second best jump, which was better than McLeod's second best jump. So I feel very good about the jumps. And I saw where McLeod has gotten a sponsorship deal with Adidas now, which is also very good. He's still in college, so I'm not sure if it allows him to continue in college, or how that will affect that, or if he's leaving. I don't know if he has graduated yet, but he must know what he's doing. But I saw where Adidas has given him a sponsorship deal. And then in the other silver, clearly was I found the guy who won on the final at the World Championships. He won it on his last jump. If I remember correctly. And
Yes.
did you see where he did it? He did the same thing again at the Diamond League.
Yeah, really, yes.
No, I guess he's just championship material. Sharika second, not much more to add. We kind of talked about Sharika at the 100 meters already. Um, and but it will be interesting to see going forward. I've heard her making comments about wanting to test herself in the 400, you know. So I don't know under what condition she would do that, whether she would enter that event. I think the 2-4 double, I wouldn't advise her to try that because it hasn't been very kind to most people. Only Michael Johnson has probably, gone through that with flying colors. The women's 4x1, we have already talked about that. But the women's 4x4, I think there's some debate about the composition of the final team. Some people have said, why didn't you use Cherokee in the final four? She ran in the heats, and she seems to be a very good relay runner as well, But we're happy for the silver, and I'm not sure if we could have gotten a gold in that particular event.
Right, and I think they did season's best. The time was better, the final. So
yeah, well, I don't. To be honest, I don't credit the season best in the relays as any big thing because we haven't been running any relays. So we haven't really been running that many, So entire road is probably a season best.
Except it goes better than the
final. So now and then the 4 bronze now. There's something to be said about the 4 bronze. Obviously, Tajay, we kind of touched on him. I wondered during his performances whether he was suffering some kind of injury. He didn't look like when he landed as if he was totally comfortable, but I'm hoping it's nothing serious or nothing that can be fixed. The other one was Rochelle Clayton in her 400-meter hurdles. She runs with such gusto that and even going into the meet, one would have put Russell ahead of her.
Yes.
It didn't work out that way. And the way she ran in the semifinals, it's like she didn't have it's like that was her final.
Yeah.
But she was able to repeat. And all praises to her.
Yeah.
And then we had Shelly Ann, of course, in the 100, which we don't necessarily need to say much more about. And then we can mention now the other bronze was the 4x1 for the men. They did something which was interesting in that they ran the same 4 in the heats and the finals, which is an ideal situation because when you didn't have any of those runners who were doubling, none of them were doubling in like running 1 and 2.
Right.
The whole thing about not having time, didn't occur, and about being tired didn't occur. So I think it was a good decision for them to run. In fact, the US, if you remember, when the US beat us, that would have in the 4x1 for the women. I think it was last year. They actually ran the same team in the preliminaries.
Yeah.
Yeah, except for one, Hobbs.
Oh,
and that was because Hobbs had gotten COVID, and then they brought in Abby. I think that was or whichever one. There was some kind of switch, but there was just one. But they had their relay camp and they were prepared, and they ran the same team with the exception of one, except for that person who they had to make a switch because one member got COVID. So it's a good strategy. Yeah. But we have not yet worked out how we're gonna deal with this relay thing. Yeah. And when we had our 3 girls all doubling, we're not gonna have that situation again. Although I'm sure if Elaine is running well, she will double in Paris.
She does.
And but Shelly is not doubling anymore. You know, we can be pretty much
Right.
assured that she's not gonna double
That's
anymore.
good.
But that was always gonna play havoc with the relay practice. So unless we are
Right.
able to do something before this,
Free.
you know, we just have to figure it out.
Really, please. Yeah.
Now I have a remember if anybody wants to put up their hand, they can do that at any time. I'll come to you. But I have what I call my near misses. And my near misses are my fourth places. You know, we've talked about Caribou Cloud. You know, he had the same jump as the third place. But then the champion near miss, not so much near miss in terms of how he ran in the final, but in terms of his whole championship experience.
Yes, man.
I have to really talk about Rashawn Clark.
Yes, yes. Big, big.
You know, he is just 19,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, just
Yeah.
19.
19. World record.
And we have never had anybody running 47 before this. Well, no, I shouldn't say that because the Jamaican record was 47.60 by Winthrop Graham, right? But that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
And it's been a long time since you have had somebody really pushing 47 and running faster than that. So he has a new Jamaican record.
Yeah.
And I remember an interview he did before the championship. I have to just paraphrase what he was implying. You know, he was saying that, you know, some people talk about he didn't say this, but I'm just saying some people talk about coming to these championships to get experience. What he was implying is that he's not coming here to get experience. He's coming here to compete.
Right.
And compete he did. And we're very proud of him. Now, in one Diamond League meet afterwards, he didn't complete the race. And I've not heard anything, I've not heard any reports as to the reason why he stopped. I don't know if he just thought, hey, I've had enough for this season. And he was just, I don't know. I don't know. But I haven't heard anybody say that he got injured. So I'm hoping that he wasn't injured and he just, for some reason, you know, decided to stop. Because we didn't see a close-up of the hurdle when he stopped. You know, so maybe he hit that, maybe, you know, so I don't have any facts on that. But certainly during the championships, he had an excellent championships. And, you know, we just have to look to him as one of the pioneers, for the future.
Right.
Then I have to make Jaden Hibbert know he was not fourth place person, but his preliminary jump would have won. His preliminary jump would have won the championship. But they don't carry forward your preliminary jump into the final. And the decision not to let him, you know, after he made that first run. You know, I thought that the reason why he had done what he did was because he thought it was a foul. But that obviously was not the case, and it was obviously, you know, he felt something. So he was taken out, best decision, and he will come back again.
No, man,
but he's really a special talent.
It's amazing, man.
Then the other near misses. Oh, Robert, you wanted to come in now?
No, just a quick one. Rashawn Clark, can he do the under-20 championships?
Yeah, well, he got the under-20 record, so he is of age to do the under-20 because he got he has the world record. So he has the world record for under-20. But as to when the next meet is coming up, I don't remember when the next under-20 juniors is coming up. I don't know if by that time he would have passed. But his time qualifies as the world record now for under-20.
Okay.
So now the other fourth place we had was Oblique Seville.
Yeah.
And I think really where he lost out in that was he seemed to have leaned too early.
Yes,
rather
anxious.
than running more
Run
to
through.
the tape
Yes.
before he leave. And he probably would have gotten that medal.
Yeah, yeah.
But good to see. And I see he has run one race on the circuit since, which is good because he had not appeared on the circuit any at
Not
all.
at all.
Even before he had, remember when he had that little injury after, and he
Uh-huh.
had to bypass the racers meet.
Yes.
That was understandable. But even prior
Even
to that,
before that, yes.
he hadn't been doing anything. And I think that you need to get accustomed to running against these people. You know,
Mm.
that's how you get, you get your little edge over them because you know how they do what they do. And I think that I don't know why his particular program didn't involve many, overseas meets before. But that was his case. And then let me just touch on Shanika. She was another fourth place. Um, and I have a little thing that I wonder about Shanika, but she wasn't far off her PB. From
Mm.
what I understand, when I did a little research, her PB
Mm.
seems to be about 1498, and she did 1493.
92. 93? Or
Yeah,
93?
she did 1493 in the World
Okay.
Championships.
Okay.
Right. And but I've always wondered when athletes level off or seem to level off,
Mm.
I always feel that maybe because she's still has a few more years in her,
Yeah,
not like she's over the hill. I
yeah.
always feel that maybe it's time to look at your coaching setup.
Good.
She's
Yeah.
another one who is being coached by her husband, and they have had a pretty successful relationship. And and who am I to even venture to suggest that maybe it's time? So even look at it, even Coco golf. If you guys watch tennis,
Yeah.
um, the parents have relinquished some of the coaching, you
Mm.
know, and she's now doing a lot better than she
Okay.
has ever done. So there comes a time, and even though we talk about Richard Williams and the
What did I
Serena and
say?
Venus, he didn't do it all alone when he
No.
was doing it.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
true.
when he got them into the academy in Miami, they were still pretty young. So, you have there has to be a blend. And I always wondered, like, when she has this cozy relationship with her husband, and so on, and they get to travel together. I'm sure that's a plus. Whether or not, you know, some sometimes you need another outside
Sure.
perspective.
You know that
I just
also.
think that she can, because I don't see any reason why is she not being able to hit that 15-meter mark.
Yes, man.
I want her to hit it. So that's why I'm really saying this. I'm not trying to break up anything.
Yeah.
And the other near miss was a 4x4 men's relay.
Yeah.
Well, I can't even remember some of the legs,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
not much more I could say about that. Oh, I see Warren, your hand is up. Warren, come in, Warren.
Thank you, DP.
Mhm.
Well, a wealth of information. You're just pouring it out. But you mentioned young what's the young is
Russian.
the triple jumper who's qualifying
Yes.
jump would have won the final.
Yes.
But I think the same thing happened with the silver medal winner for us in the long jump, where his qualifying jump would have won the final.
Oh,
So,
you mean Wayne Pinnock?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
So,
That slipped me.
so what I'm saying is, it's like an athlete that doesn't dip at the right time, in the 100.
Yeah. Okay.
Because these guys demonstrate that they have it in them to be gold medal winners, and in fact did the jumps in the qualifying. Yeah. So
Yeah. Interesting point. The only difference in Jaden's case, though, is that the jump that he did in the prelims wasn't anywhere near his best jump.
Right.
In other words, he was still he was still way below his best jump. So whereas with Pinnock,
Wayne.
that may not have been way below. In other words, you understand what I'm saying?
That's just marginally about 7 centimeters
Right.
below.
Right.
But the fact is, that is even more so because these guys have it in them to win.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
With the gold medal winners.
Yes.
You're right.
So we're looking to them to, crank it up a notch next time. Thanks for that, Warren. And then now, just to mention the finalists. When I say finalists, I mean some events have more than 8 in the finals, but in terms of the people who came between 5th and 8th, right? We must remember Adele Tracy, who made it to the finals. I'm kind of really interested. I mean, I find her story, well, I don't know much about her story, but I kind of like her. She seems so happy to be representing Jamaica, and she reached the finals. And when our other favorite, goal wasn't able to,
she's well.
But and then she didn't come last, she came 7th.
No, she came 7th. That's
she came
good.
7th. Then there was Frederick Dakers. He came 5th. Now I have a problem. I think we need to grow some bigger people. I mean, Frederick is pretty big, but don't compare to Che in Surma size. That guy must have about 7 feet. I don't know what his actual height is. But height gives you an advantage with discus because you're releasing the discus at a higher point. So that is that's one advantage. But at least we want to say that he had a reasonable championship. At one stage, I think he was a little bit higher in the rankings, but he ended up at 5th. So, kudos to him. Akira Nugent in the hurdles, she came 5th, right? Then Candice McLeod, she didn't have a good final in terms of what we were expecting. But she came 7th. And at least she made it to the final. I think she was the only Jamaican who made it to the final. And who remembers that interview with Spencer Darlington? That's his last name, right? Spencer.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
It seemed very piercing. I remember that. In other words, he was very persistent in trying to get her. And it was clear that she didn't want to say anything more than she had already said. So I think at those points, he kind of needs to back up.
Leave it alone.
Need to just back up. But anyway, overall, he did a good job. And I think overall he did a good job. So good. I give him marks.
Yeah.
Then there was Lamara Distin, who came 5th. She tied for 5th, clearing I think 1.94. Right? So we're looking for her to be able to step up. That's not our PB, but sometimes you don't always achieve your PB in these events. And then there was Danielle Thomas Dodd, who came 5th in the shot put. 1959. I'm sure she has done 20. Yeah, she 20 before. I mean, our PB, I'm sure I think it's over 20.
She has over. Just over.
But 5th. Then then Genevieve mentioned Genevieve Russell. She came 7th in the hurdles. And then we had Andronette Knight, who came 8th. All 2 Jamaicans, they came 7th and 8th. And we mustn't forget Sean Bailey, who also in the 400 meters, he came 5th.
Oh Lord,
right?
yes.
Right. So we have a lot to feel good about.
Sean Bailey came 5th.
Sean, he came. Well, I have him as 5th. I have 5th in the 400. Remember, Kirani was disqualified.
Yes.
And Van Niekerk was last. I remember he was last.
He was last, right?
Right. So I have it as Sean Bailey. He came 5th. So I think overall, a good championship. I mean, we wanted. I was really hoping I would have got that extra goal. So
Yes, man.
recognize just one more.
That's
But
why.
it wasn't meant to be. But basically, you know, I think we have to wrap now. We'll run a
Yeah,
little
but
bit longer.
before you close now, DP,
Sure.
I think we certainly looking out in the short hurdles for the women.
Yes, the women, they're stacked. They are stacked.
Yeah, because Nugent is there, the young girl Hill. I remember Anderson is injured.
Yes, she will come back now. Yes.
Yeah, so that's 3 top class youngsters coming through.
We're
not even mentioning Williams and Tapper, you know?
Yes, yes.
So it's a packed field there.
And there's Amore Brown. There's Amore Brown.
Yes, Amore Brown too.
She
we have a big,
to be honest,
we have a good big problem.
right.
Yeah.
Because and that girl Brittany, you know, Anderson, she is a competitor. She's a competitor. When I see her going head to head with quick, you know, it's like she's not afraid of them, you know. She's not afraid. She's not afraid.
She's a talent, man. And this young girl Hill is a talent too.
Yes, she's a talent. I have a feeling that next year, because you remember when she came, it was the racers meet.
She beat Tapper. Yeah.
Yeah, she has beaten Tapper before. But I'm saying that time when she had run into the first hurdle, or she had a problem with the first hurdle at the racers Grand Prix. Yeah. I thought she just had a misstep, but I understand she got injured. It wasn't just you know, a wrong foot or something. I hear she actually got injured. So but when you look at these things, I don't expect her to be beating the best of our existing girls yet in her first, because next year will be like her first full season.
Really full, yeah.
Yeah. But she's an excellent hurdler. She's an excellent hurdler.
But her flat speed is also good, you know.
Yes.
You remember the World Junior record? She ran, I think it's the 3rd leg.
Yeah, well, one of them. The faster one is the one with Branagh. You know, in other words, when they did it at Carifta, but they didn't call it the world record because Jack could never test some of the people. Remember? Yeah. That time is active, but then they went to the Cali, the junior games afterwards and broke it proper, you know. But the time that they did at Carifta should be the Jamaica record, because I don't see any reason why we can't call it our Jamaican record.
That was
yeah, that is the faster time. Okay. That was the faster time. They didn't do the same time or as good a time. But they were both world record performances. Right. But I am she's one of my favorites. And I'm really looking out to her to see her blossom you know, because she's a joy. She's a joy to watch. So I think there's always more that one. Oh, let me just mention one last thing. 2 other Caribbean persons who figured in prominently. This guy, Kyron McMaster, who came second from the British Virgin Islands. He came second, and then after the World Championships, he beat Warholm. You guys remember that match?
That's right. You're right.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he ran well, but I mean, Warholm was not about to lose that race. But
400-meter hurdles that.
Yes, 400-meter hurdles.
You have to tell them. It's 400-meter hurdles. Remember that.
Yeah, man. I think our audience will remember. But he has done very well, and it was interesting to see him staying with Warholm and eventually beating him. We kind of thought nobody was going to beat Warholm for the season, you know. And then there's this girl from Barbados, Williams, who I think is being trained by Stephen Francis, by MVP.
Yeah.
And I heard somebody from Barbados was saying that we should give they are saying that they should give Stephen Francis some award because of his impact on their athletes.
Yeah,
But so I think that's where I want to call it quits.
Yes,
President,
yes. Thank you.
there are no more hands, so that is it from me and from all of those. And
Thank
we
you,
can,
DP.
yeah.
I was outside it a while because I got knocked out, but excellent presentation, excellent discussion, I would say. And I just asked DP Rupert at this point to give the vote. DP.
President Junior, I know we could call this the Kiwanis Club of Kingston Sports Center.
Yes.
That's what I just want to tell DP Stu how grateful we are. I know it kind of runs in the family, but every time we talk about sports, I just sit down and wonder where he finds the time to dig, to gather facts, to tell us. But thank you for everyone who has participated. Thank you, DP Stu. Once again, you have shown us, and I hope this is the spirit of Kiwanis, that nothing is impossible for a little country like Jamaica. I hope that from sports we can learn to even be a more formidable force in the world. We thank everyone for joining us. Thank you for being on. I don't know how we're gonna share tonight again with that certificate, but we probably need one that says to all the world. Thank you, DP.
Thank you. And thanks to everybody for their willingness to participate.
Yes. Very big thank you, DP Stu. Okay. I'm sure most I've certainly do enjoy it. I have gotten a lot of information. I was definitely, I'm not so deep into the athletics as such, but it's seen is real deep and senior presentation, I would say. Okay. Sarge, you're on. Sarge. All right. You still hear me because my things keep cutting out.
I'm hearing you. We're hearing you. We're hearing you.
Okay, good.
Hearing you.
All right. So at this time, I just give a blanket charge to everybody. I think it's more than worth it. And I ask all our members that are present tonight to give us a $300 each, just a blanket charge. So I just seem to be an understand. Okay. Any further announcements you'd like to make at this time? Any further announcements? You hear me again, because I keep cutting out.
No, we heard you when you asked for any announcements, but
yes,
nobody has actually said anything. So you could move on.
Okay. Interclubbing opportunities. Interclubbing opportunities.
Well, Willie would have that, but Willie is not here, so.
Right. So we can move on. All right. All right. So we move back to you then, Stu. Thoughts of the week.
I didn't have a chance to.
Forget why you have done a real
yeah, I didn't have a chance to look up one. Right. So I gotta beg off this week.
Right. So I would just say now, if there's anything else that we'd like to discuss very quickly at this time.
One thing, let me ask one thing. I know Martino is a track fan. but he didn't make a comment on it. I would love to hear. Martina, how come we didn't hear from you? And I know you're big into track and field.
Hey, Willie, I wanted to participate, but I'm at work now. I actually dealing with some emergencies, but I was listening actually. As you can see, I'm actually seeing somebody now.
Oh, okay. Okay, understood. All right. Take care.
Thank you all for attending and participating. It has been a real wonderful night, a good night of analysis. And I've certainly, like most of us, I've learned a lot more about this athletics championship. So if there's nothing else to discuss at this time, I'd like us to raise our glasses, drink a toast to Kiwanis International and Jamaica land we love. Thank you again for coming. Thank you again, DP Stu and all the rest of us who have participated. It was another real good night. Thank you. At this time, Stu, I think you DJ Stu, you'll be playing some music. So for those of us who want to continue to listen, we could just stay on and be entertained by DJ Stu.
Yeah,
All right, thank you.
I will be playing, but I just trying to write down some names because
Yeah.
Billy normally does that, and I have to kind of do it because I didn't designate anybody else to do it. So
Okay.
just taking off a few more names after this then.
Yes.
All right, just give me a second and I should start. I play it,
Soon start playing, right.